Good morning, Dopey. Your favorite podcast. Now a YouTube show. Good morning, Dopey.
Good morning, Dopey, and welcome to another episode of Good Morning, Dopey, the shallow yet deep dive into the daily reflections. My name is Dave, and I look like a bum. And it's been like, we shot like 10 videos of me looking like a bum.
You're looking like a bum. You put no effort in.
I put no
Zero effort.
I know. What do you think about that?
I think you should fill the void and get, verpitzt. As
Get
we
what?
say in Italian. You ever heard that word?
No.
Verpitzt?
No. How come
Italian.
it's the last video of the day you're suggesting this fapitzness now? Why?
I don't know. You said something. I didn't say anything. I don't care what you look like.
All right.
I'm going to take a drink.
All right. He's drinking water just in case you're
I'm
triggering.
drinking water.
Just in
Calm
case
down.
you're triggering anybody.
I'm sorry.
It's February 4th, and today's reading is When Faith is Missing. Sometimes AA comes harder to those who have lost or rejected faith than to those who never had any faith at all. For they think they have tried faith and found it in wanting. They have tried the way of faith and the way of no faith. I was so sure God had failed me that I became ultimately defiant. Though I knew better and plunged into a final drinking binge, my faith turned bitter, and that was no coincidence. Those who once had faith hit bottom harder. It took time to rekindle my faith. Though I came to AA, it took time to rekindle faith, though I came to AA. I was grateful intellectually to have survived such a great fall, but my heart felt callous. Still, I stuck with the AA program. The alternatives were too bleak. I kept coming back, and gradually my faith was resurrected. It's funny, like the way they say that if you have faith, that if you lose it, that it hurts, right? And my faith is a total loose garment. Like my faith is a faith of, this is just to be totally honest, it's a faith of convenience and it's a faith of acceptance. Like my faith is that I accept that the universe is one, that we are bound by some cosmic greatness, but it is not faith that there's a conscious conscious power, like a higher consciousness or I don't even know what I'm trying to say. A conscious what?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Like, I don't think that there's some power of consciousness out there that I have faith in that's going to take care of me or you. I have faith that the universe will run the way it's supposed to. That's my faith. Okay. And it's almost impossible to lose faith in that because sun comes up, sun goes down, moon rises, rivers flow, COVID comes, COVID goes, whatever. So it's easy for me to have that faith. It seems impossible for me to lose that faith. How do you lose that kind of faith?
Well, if you didn't see COVID coming, and then it came, and then you're in a deep depression, you might
I
not
think
have seen
I'm
that.
just deeply ambivalent. I can just take it as it comes.
You're professional ambivalence?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an expert ambivalenter. Like, I'm just like right there. I can really rock with it. You don't get a vaccine, that's okay. You get a vaccine, great. I just don't like fucking fanaticism of any kind. I don't like fanaticism of this. I don't like fanaticism in anything. I like nice and easy, love thy neighbor, be cool to your friends, be respectful, keep it moving. That's my belief. So I don't have this kind of problem. I was never sure God failed me or any of that kind of stuff. I just know that I fuck up sometimes and I get angry at myself. So like, I don't know. Let's read it again and then we'll be done with this thing. Unless you have a comment to say right now.
No, read it again.
All right.
Let me hear.
When faith is missing, sometimes AA comes harder to those who have lost or rejected faith than to those who never had any faith at all. For they think they have tried faith and found it wanting. They have tried the way of faith and the way of no faith. I was and I had no faith. My no faith was the same as my faith. My faith was just turning on the light and being like, okay, I'm in it, you know. I was so sure. I mean, like, I knew that nature worked, that the world was going to turn no matter what. And like, was I going to go with it or go against it? I was so sure God had failed me that I became ultimately defiant. Though I knew better and plunged into a final drinking binge, my faith turned bitter, and that was no coincidence. Those who once had great faith hit bottom harder. It took time to rekindle my faith. Though I came to AA, I was grateful intellectually to have survived such a great fall, but my heart felt callous. Still, I stuck with the AA program. The alternatives were too bleak. I kept coming back, and gradually my faith was resurrected. I think the easiest thing to take away from that is more importantly than anything else, is stick-to-itiveness. That this guy did it even though he lost his faith, and eventually his faith came back. My lack of faith kind of resulted in having faith because I knew I wasn't going to get better if I didn't have faith.
Yep, that makes sense. And also, if you are a religious person or someone who might have believed in something at some point, then you realize you have a problem and you're thinking,
God failed you.
God failed me. It's saying, give it a chance. Or maybe someone who's in and out of rehab, who's like, I've tried this already. I've done it already.
It doesn't work.
It's not working.
Or I go to AA and it doesn't work.
Right, it doesn't work. Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I hear that all the time, and it's like, okay, you go to AA and it doesn't work, but do you have a sponsor?
Right.
Do you go to meetings?
Right.
Do you work? Do you actually do the step work?
Meetings.
Do
Is that a
you
phrase? Work the meetings? Is that
No,
what they
work
say?
the steps.
Fuck you.
Sorry.
Work the meetings.
It's not work the meetings.
Work the steps. Right.
You work the steps.
Yeah.
You go to meetings. You work the steps. You get a sponsee. You get a sponsor. That's what they. I mean, when I first started going to meetings religiously, they
No
would.
pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Right.
They would say that, like, if somebody relapsed and you ask them, well, are you going to meetings? Did you work all 12 steps?
You chastise them.
Do you have a sponsor? Do you have a sponsee? No, the point is that rarely have we seen anyone fail who does all those things.
Right.
So, like, if you're finding yourself losing faith,
I don't really do
falling
this.
out,
Got it.
like, what are those things aren't you doing?
You got to buy into it. The whole thing.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Buying into it is nothing.
I mean, you have to commit.
Right.
The
You,
whole way.
you have
Can't
to
half-ass it.
Right. Well, they say half measures availed us nothing. They say faith without works is nothing. So
right.
the idea they say you can't think yourself into right action, but you can act yourself into right thinking. So it's like
I
you
like
just
this.
have to do work, which is something that, like, I mean, I think one of the only real reasons that you're so invested in this stuff is because you know that I'm going to do the work.
About the show?
The Dopey stuff.
Oh, of course.
Like, that's why it's appealing to you
Right.
to work on it, because I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to
agree.
keep doing shit.
Right.
Like, because would you
Whether
be...
or not I'm here.
Right. Would
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm doing it rain or shine, and that's probably why you're doing it.
Yeah, I like that.
Is that true?
Yeah, to a certain extent, of course.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't fully invested in it, I wouldn't be interested.
But I've worked with lots of people over the years that say they want to do X, Y, and Z. They might do X, but they don't do Y and Z.
Right. Well, that's probably most people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
That's the
like,
human condition.
right. But I find that working hard at anything is the same as working hard at recovery, and you only get results from doing work if it's exercising, if it's
Yes.
dieting, if it's making... I mean, our YouTube numbers are terrible, and we're putting a lot of effort in, though. So,
Right.
like, what does that mean?
I don't think it means anything.
It means you can't get to where you want to go unless you keep going. So we keep
Ooh,
going.
I like that.
Thank you.
We have faith.
Do we?
You have faith.
I don't. I don't. I just
neither
keep
one of us
going. I'm
have
like a
faith.
mule. I'm like a stupid animal. I just keep fucking walking.
You're a mule. Yeah,
All right.
I like that. All right.
Stay strong, Dopey Nation. Fucking toodles for Chris.
Dopey, I'm face down on the floor. Dopey, please sir, can I have some more? Dopey, said Dopey.